Hello there, YouTube. Devin here again. I'm not sure the interest that will be gauged here on this video, but I have something really cool to show you nonetheless. For those of you who know, I like a lot of weird guns. I have a lot of weird guns. A lot of them are straight pulls, Enfields, but one thing they all pretty much have in common is rimmed ammo. I really, really like rimmed ammo. It's very easy to headspace. It has a natural gas seal. Um, Getting ruptured cases and stuff is a lot harder just because of the amount of metal that's at the rear of the case, obviously. And it's just something interesting. So for a lot of you who don't know, one of the first guns I ever shot was a 30-30 obviously being, a 30 caliber round on 30 grades of smokeless powder, using that black powder nomenclature for a cartridge. It was designed by Winchester in 1895 for use in the 1894 lever action rifle. It became the most synonymous North American hunting cartridge and is still, I think, the most popular North American hunting cartridge out there. It's a medium pressure round capable of taking a lot of big game. It's actually also one of the still most relevant hunting cartridges out there because as long as you are willing to get close to the animal, which is kind of a lost art form, stalking, this round delivers more energy and penetration and deformation of the round itself, depending on what kind of bullet you're using. But these are just a bonded core, pretty much what I always use. As far as 30-30 goes, you can achieve more penetration and more damage essentially to the animal when you're hunting with a 30-30 than you can with a lot newer rounds, such as the 30-06, even the 300 Winchester Magnum. This round is capable of expanding to, based on its ballistics, most of the bonded core bullets will expand to twice the size of the original 30 caliber round, and can achieve about 17 inches of penetration on average, which is really good because, believe it or not, it's such, because most rounds are designed for either penetration or energy transfer. That seems to be the two things you can use to kill most animals effectively. Is you can use the cavitation that is achieved through the tissue, the soft tissue of the animal, to rupture organs and stuff like that through the velocity, or you can use the energy transfer, which is mostly just tearing a hole. The 30-30 seems to be a almost perfect middle ground at a lot of distances that aren't super long, basically up to 200 yards, which is give or take 200 meters. Pretty much the perfect middle ground. It's a rimmed around, slight shoulder to it, pretty heavy, medium pressure round. So I recently bought a cool rifle. It's a little bit of an interesting rifle. There's not a lot known on it, despite the fact that they were made for tons of years. They were made from the early 1950s all the way to the mid 1980s, I think being discontinued in 1986. And they came in a no variant, A, B, C, D, E, and S variant. And a lot of this company's current line will take from this rifle. That rifle is right here. I bought this because the price was right. This is a Savage 340, no letter designation, so it's a very, very early one. You can also tell because it doesn't have the big cocking knob on it. It has just the regular cocking piece, and it has the unknurled bolt handle. It does have the cool sight upgrade. This was an S model at one point, but before the S model really existed, it was kind of the nicer, more premium edition one. But it's just a little 22-inch bolt action rifle, chambered in 30-30. Weird, I know, because most 30-30s are in lever guns. This happens to be a bolt action, and it's a weird bolt action. So you know me, I like weird guns and I like rimmed ammo, so this kind of is going to be a nice hunting rifle project. As you can see, it's in really good shape. The price was right on this gun. I got this gun fully shipped. I think it was all said and done, taxes, transfer fee, and everything, about $275. I'm going to make a new stock for it. This one, while being in pretty good condition, isn't the original one, and it's a little bit dinged up. So we're going to make a new stock for it and everything like that, but it's in really, really good shape. So the Savage 340 is one of those rifles where They were made for forever. It was meant to be like a farm gun, truck gun. It was a good introductory model, but there's a lot of current Savage guns, including the venerable 110. The Savage 110, which is their kind of Savage's flagship gun, draws a lot of its design features from this rifle. Most of it being something Savage still uses today, and that is this locking collar on the barrel, which is used to headspace the barrel to the receiver, which made this rifle really cheap because you could headspace guns a lot easier. So this gun would have been coming out at the same time as the, Remington, why can't I remember it? Whatever was before the 700 and the Winchester Model 70. This wasn't a competition to that gun. This was meant to be a farm kind of varmint trapping kind of gun. The only really non-varmint round this thing was made in was 30-30. Otherwise, you find a lot of them in, 22 Hornet, 223 Remington, 222 Remington, a lot of the like Coyote larger varmint cartridges. And it was meant to be basically a gun used for around the farm for getting rid of pests, coyotes, groundhogs, gophers, stuff like that. 30-30 was really the only medium game cartridge that it was ever designed in. And a lot of that probably has to do with the action itself. The action itself is, if I take the bolt out here, it only has one locking lug, okay? It's a really big locking lug. It's a really wide, really deep locking lug, but it only has one locking lug. It has a double-sided extractor, which is kind of cool. It just clips over the bolt. This is one of the early ones that still has the metal gas shroud on top of it and guide, because it is a split bridge rifle. But it's a neat overall gun. They were designed to be cheap. They were designed to work, designed to be reliable. They made them for a long time. So I'm gonna, put a new stock on this thing, clean it up really nice, take it out shooting. It's probably gonna be a new deer rifle because this thing's light. It's light and handy. Because for the last couple of years, I've been hauling this this big bastard Winchester P14 out into the woods, and this thing is a lot lighter than that thing. It's really nice, kind of pleasant. It does have a collar, so we are going to have to bed this thing probably a little better into its new stock, but this rifle's cheap. It's a really cheap. This is one of the early ones that is so early made that this is post. Somebody had this tapped for probably a peep sight or something at some point. But most models of this, from like the A through E models, would be factory tapped for a Weaver side mount. I do have a Weaver side mount. I probably will get this thing tapped just to make it kind of more historically, still keeping it historically accurate, I guess, but with a later mount from when this rifle was made, because most of these would have come already factory tapped for a Weaver side mount. And they made tons of mounts specifically for this rifle. It was made for so long. It's a neat little gun. I would take it out of the stock and show you the proof marks, but there really isn't a ton of proof marks on them. And most of the proof marks on them, I don't know if you can see it, there's just that little SP in an oval. That's pretty much the same thing that's on everything. It's on the bolt handle right there. SP in an oval. That's pretty much the whole thing. I will do a disassembly video and stuff like this, but I figured you all could come along this journey with me of kind of restoring this thing a little bit, replacing the stock on it, getting it kind of cleaned up, kind of nice, and then eventually, get it tapped and see how it shoots and everything like that. So if you guys are interested, or if you have one of these cool rifles, I'd very much love to hear about it in the comments. It's just a nice, cheap, stamped, little, reliable farm gun. Nothing fancy. Don't want to lose my 30-30 rounds on my table here, so throw those in the pocket. Crappy little stamped sheet metal magazine, but it works good. Apparently, a lot of people live and swear and die by these. Most of the videos that you can find on this rifle on YouTube are just a bunch of old boomer fuds shooting it and stuff like that. But I figured we'd go through eventually in some other videos and go through the guts of this thing, go through the restoration process, take the bolt apart, which is apparently a massive pain in the ass to take apart. But I like to do that because there's so many of these around, and I'll go through the hassle of taking apart the bolt on a video here and all the other jazz so everyone can see it, because ultimately I would rather take the hit in the YouTube ad revenue and go through it to learn how it works myself and show everyone else, so that way it can be maintained safely for everyone else that owns one of these rifles. Maintained safely and shared through multiple generations, because it is such a weird, kooky, odd, stamped, bit of an ugly duckling of a rifle, but a nice handy little thing, and hopefully it'll become a new staple hunting rifle for me. So hopefully you like this video and you're willing to join me on this journey. It'll be a new playlist, the Savage 340 playlist restoration, and we're going to go through and make this thing just like it rolled off the assembly line about 80 years ago. So thank you all for stopping by. If you do have one of these, like I said, I would very much like to know some recommendations and what kind of model you have and what caliber, everything, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, everything like that in the comments if you have one of these, because it's not a super well-known rifle, despite being made for so long and so many flagship rifles of Savage, a gun company I really, really like. So many of their modern guns that are still in production today draw from this thing all those years ago. Take inspiration from this. So pretty neat in my opinion. So stay tuned and all that other good jazz, and we'll get this whole thing done, sorted out, and put up for you at some point. So hopefully more videos to come here in the future once I get some more stuff coming in. Drill press and whatnot's got to be high on the priority list, and I'll get a nice piece of walnut blank and make a nice stock up for it, and then we'll see about getting it drilled and tapped and put a nice scope on it, a nice vintage scope on it, of course, to maintain that cool historicness to it. So thank you all for stopping by. Hopefully I can see all of you here in the next video.